subscribe to me.
Good evening and welcome to Charlotte Motor Speedway for the NORA B Series. Tonight here on Jay Deadlift's YouTube channel, we're going to bring you tonight's Charlotte 170. Going to be doing 170 laps around the 1.5 mile D-shaped oval here in Charlotte, North Carolina. And we're bringing you the NORA B Series. A little bit about the series. It's going to be 85% of the Xfinity Series length races. They will be in the Xfinity cars. And with that will be 75% of the fuel load that the cars are able to carry. Normally, these cars are able to carry an 18-gallon tank. They're going to have 85% of that here tonight. So that's going to provide for some interesting racing. We will have the race broken up into stages, but a little bit more about this league as we get you underway. This is the first time this has been broadcasted on our channel, and we're happy to bring you tonight's race at Charlotte in the second half of their season. Finished up the All-Star race last week, so let's get you caught up on the top 5 in points here. Josh Thaxton with 1 win. He's currently sitting on top of the point standings in first. Right behind him is Dalton Tucker. He also has a win. Quick reminder, if you're not familiar, they are doing the NASCAR-style points where if you get a win, you're basically in. If not, it's based on points. So those 2 drivers with a win under their belt, they are 1-2 in points. First driver scored in the points is sitting in third. That's Trey James. Sean Briscoe sits in fourth, and Todd Slauson will sit fifth in your point standings. Next week, the NORA B Series heads to Mid-Ohio. Wonderful road course that we'll be able to check that one out. And they continue the Midwest Tour as next they travel to Michigan, followed by Iowa. So be sure to stay tuned for those races, which will be featured here on this channel. So if you're looking for these races, same time, same date, Wednesdays at around 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You can tune in and watch the NORA B Series here on Jay Deadlift Broadcasting. A little bit more for you as we get set to take the green here shortly. The track, like we mentioned, Charlotte Motor Speedway, 1.5 mile D-shaped oval. There's 24 degrees of banking in the corner, so you're going to see quite a bit of banking as you're watching Dalton Tucker take his qualifying laps here. A lot of banking in the corners. It is the 3rd most banked track in NASCAR, only behind Daytona and Talladega. So if that gives you any indication of what these drivers are going to endure here tonight, that's a good look of it. Broke ground in 1957, so an old historic track, and we're coming again tonight to Charlotte Motor Speedway, the one that we are running tonight in the iRacing Simulator. The most recent 2018 scan of Charlotte Motor Speedway, and you see that with the white walls instead of the yellow walls that some of you may remember from back before 2018. Think back to 2016 when Charlotte Motor Speedway had the yellow walls for the All-Star race and kept it year-round. So as you're looking at these names as we get set to grid on up here, any name with a -O next to it is a sub-driver and or they're not racing for points. So they're racing for owner's points and not driver's points. Those are all the names with an O at the end of their name. Drivers with an R or nothing, those are your points contenders. So you can definitely look for those guys to duke it on out here. We're going to get set to grid on up and take the green flag here. Quick look at your top 10 from qualifying. On the pole is going to be Dalton Tucker in second place. Josh Thaxton. Starting third is going to be Caleb Eisenhower. Starting fourth is going to be Josh Conover. Bruce Ackerman will roll off fifth. Ryan Kendrick takes the green in sixth. Brian Powell will roll off seventh in the number 7 machine. Trevor Apollo start 8th. Blade Timmons will roll off 9th. And Keegan Blitzer will start 10th. Fireball Racing front row, and some cheers for Colby Wells. Great to see everyone tuning in and enjoying the broadcast already. And we're going to bring a good one to you here tonight. So all these drivers get lined on up here. Good look at all the paint schemes you're going to see here tonight. Todd Slauson in that 22 there. Joshua Schofield in the 01 machine. Brian Powell in the number 7. Keegan Blitzer in the 28. Let's run you through the grid real quick as we get set to roll at the Charlotte 170. Dalton Tucker going to roll off first. He's on that inside lane. Josh Thaxton in second. Caleb Eisenhower in third. Josh Conover starts 4th. Bruce Ackerman starts 5th. Ryan Kendrick will start 6th. As we continue on down the grid, Brian Powell will roll off 7th. Trevor Apollo in 8th. Blade Timmons in 9th. Keegan Blitzer in 10th. Cameron Thompson takes the green in 11th. And Josh Steersman starts 12th. Starting 13th is going to be Todd Slauson. Joshua Schofield will roll off 19th. Chad Engel will roll off 15th. Joshua Abney will start 16th. Jason O'Connor 17th. Colby Wells, we've already seen some cheers for him. He rolls off 18th. 19th is Brian O. Jones. 20th, Corey Wharton. Trey James, Martin Plute, and the rest of your order. So as we get set to rock and roll here, be growing green. As soon as we get that green flag, and this race will be broken up into the stages. First one, 42 laps. So not a necessarily quick stage, but definitely not a short one either. And here we go. The NORA B Series taking the green flag for the first time tonight. And we are underway at Charlotte Motor Speedway. Field takes the green flag, and you see Tucker in that number 24 machine going to lead the field down in turn 1, but he's got trouble all over his back end. Eisenhower in that 0 machine, and up on that high side, Josh Thaxton in the 12. Thaxton and Eisenhower mixing it up right behind Dalton Tucker, not willing to give an inch. You see a bunch of 2x2 racing here early. Curious to see how this all plays out. Leader's starting to single file a little bit, but you see back after that 6th spot, Bruce Ackerman. He's mixing up a little bit right here with Keegan Blitzer. Blitzer and Ackerman start to settle it on out, and you see that top 5 all single file grouped up. They're looking to check on out. Tucker leads that charge, but back further in the pack, looking at Brian Powell here, and right behind him, Todd Slauson and Blade Timmons mixing it up as they go down the back straightaway. 22 drivers took the green flag, and we'll see if 22 drivers end up finishing this race. Decent sized field here tonight. You've seen everyone start to single file on out here. Not everyone trying to race the wheels off just yet, and that's something you really got to think about as you look at the top left corner of your screen. 170 laps, so a very long race. Definitely a good idea to keep the car clean. And we're seeing that here early in this one. Dalton Tucker holding on to that lead. Looked very strong in qualifying and practice, and he's proving it here in the race early. Right behind him, Caleb Eisenhower. Looking very good in that 0 machine. That pink and blue and black paint scheme. Mixed his way up into that 2nd spot right in front of Josh Thaxton. And right behind them, Josh Conover in the 95. He's looking at that inside in that Toyota Supra. Looking to poke his nose in there for the first time tonight. Riding along with Con over here. You see that iRacing machine looking very good all the way to the rear bumper of Thaxton in the 12. So they go down in turns 1 and 2 once again. The Xfinity cars that they're racing tonight going to output 650 to 700 horsepower. So a lot of horsepower. And you might see as the tires start to wear, the car get a little bit loose. We heard from drivers in practice that the car was tight, meaning it's going to push up towards the wall. It's not going to want to turn. And you're definitely going to see that off of turn 4 here tonight. So be on the lookout for cars getting in that outside retaining wall. Right there, you see the 23 of Blade Timmons in the Rowdy Energy Toyota Supra, making a good pass in that low side, sneaking by Cameron Thompson. He slides into that 11th spot. Timmons a good move right there, but Thompson says not just yet. Dives to that low side of the 23, and he's going to try and make the pass in 3 and 4. 17 slides on by, and good pass by the 17 to get it right on back. And you saw that good run that second groove is going to provide you down the back straightaway. Keep that groove in mind as the race goes on. You're going to see the tires start to wear a little bit, meaning cars aren't going to want to turn as well as they normally might. And you're going to see that second groove start to kind of settle on in here. You watch the 17 of Thompson go flying down by that front straightaway. And like we said, right there, you saw a little bit of contact with the wall. The 22, Todd Slauson, right in front of this gaggle of cars. Checking back with your leader, Dalton Tucker. He's kind of checked on out here. Opened up a 3/4 of a second gap on second place Thaxton, who's snuck by the 0 of Eisenhower. Eisenhower's now back to 4th, and he's under attack from Ryan Kendrick. Kendrick on that low groove through the tri-oval. Can't complete the pass through turns 1 and 2, and that's going to open the door for Ackerman in the 69 right behind him. Ackerman in that red and white Toyota Supra, that Hardee's machine, staying tucked against the bumper of the 00 as he continues to work on that number 0 of Caleb Eisenhower. Man, that is a mouthful. So you're going to see a bunch of drivers do exactly this. Stay on the bumper of the car in front of you, and as soon as Ackerman sees Kendrick dive to that low side, he's going to go right behind him, try and really make a move of this. Further back in the pack, Colby Wells in the 45. He's making a little bit of a move up toward the front. Saw him on the starting grid start. Well, in the back, in the number 17, slow on the apron, Cameron Thompson. We just mentioned him a second ago. Must have had some kind of issue there. He started in 11th. You see that right there. Now dropped back to 22nd. A little bit of an issue for the 17. I don't know if there was contact or not. But regardless, he's been sent kind of to the back of the field and on his lonesome there. Checking back in with Colby Wells in the 45. He's made his way up to 16th and now trying to work on 15th. You see right behind him, Corey Wharton. And right behind him, Joshua Schofield. As well as Mark Stryker in that number 77 machine. Stryker going to look to the low side of Schofield, and he's going to get it through the tri-oval. You're seeing a bunch of different lines here. Schofield up to that high side, and he's kind of hung out to dry a little bit. You see Chad Engel also going to work low on him. Engel's going to complete the pass down the back straight. Cuts right in front of Schofield. Schofield's going to think about going back low. Not going to do it just yet. The 29 of Engel cuts it on off. They continue to run single file in this one. Good little battle here between the 36 and the 23. That's Joshua Stearman in the 36 and Blade Timmons in that 23. So the Rowdy Energy of Blade Timmons that you're riding along with right here. And you can hear it right there as we listen on in. The amount that he has to lift as the 01 of Trey James slides under on that low side. 13, 14 laps into this run. Tire's going to start to wear off a little bit. The car's not going to want to stick to the bottom as it normally would. And something else to note, these Xfinity cars, you're looking at it right here. have that very short spoiler on the back end. So as opposed to some of the racing that you might see with the Cup cars, with the high spoiler, high downforce type cars, you're going to want to carry a lot of speed as you roll throughout this one. And that's going to be your quickest way around the track. And you hear it in their inputs right there. Riding back along with Dalton Tucker here he is your leader. Started off on the pole and he's done nothing but pull away here. Top 3 listed at the top of your screen there. Dalton Tucker in first. You're looking back at Josh Thaxton and Josh Conover in that 3rd spot. Hasn't given it up yet. Caleb Eisenhower still holding on in that position, but hasn't really made a move for it just yet. So let's ride along with Conover in the 95 here now. As you see right behind him, that pink and blue machine of Eisenhower that we mentioned earlier. And you can listen along with the driver input right there. Really cool to listen on in. It's when they're getting on the throttle, when they're getting off. Really gives you a sense of how much work the driver's having to put in at this track. So far, good green flag run here at Charlotte. Had limited action to speak of. Everyone just kind of letting things settle on out. And as soon as I say that, Blade Timmons, looking at that low side right there, the 28 machine, that's Keegan Blitzer. Timmons and Blitzer continue to mix it up, and right behind them, Colby Wells getting passed by Corey Wharton in the 20. But Wells not going to give it up just yet. Stays on that rear bumper of Wharton, and he's going to try and do something with it, heading back into turn 1. Wells all over that rear bumper. Thinks about sending it low. Can't do it just yet. And you see, so hard to do here. It's really got to set up all your passes. And really start to think about where and when you're faster. And right there, the 23 of Blade Timmons sneaks by the 28 of Blitzer. And he's going to clear the 28 heading out of that front straightaway. 28 of Blitzer in that Haviland Toyota Supra. And right behind him, Wharton now all over his rear bumper. He wants to pass as well. So you saw it right there. As soon as that first car passes, it kind of puts that being passed car in a difficult position that you have to hop back in line as quick as possible. 28 didn't do it just in time, and now the 20 and the 45 both going to sneak by King of Blitzer in the 28 as he's going to hop back in line right behind Wells. Looking back in the pack, Joshua Schofield has also dropped on off. Don't know if Schofield had a little problem with the car as well, but he's now riding in the back with Cameron Thompson. We saw him earlier go down to the apron, and we weren't quite sure why. We'd have to go back and look at it to kind of figure all that out. But let's go through your top 10 as they run. Dalton Tucker still holding on to your lead. He's in that 24 Exalta Toyota Supra. In second place, right behind him now is Josh Thaxton. He's in the 12. Caleb Eisenhower in the 0 machine. He's in third. Josh Conover relinquished that third position to Eisenhower, but he's holding on to fourth. Bruce Ackerman making his presence felt in that 69. He's right in there with it for fourth. He sits in that fifth spot. Ryan Kendrick is in sixth. He's in the 00. Saw him mix it up a little bit with Eisenhower in the 0, but he's now fallen back to sixth place. Brian Powell sits in seventh. He is the number 7 machine. Isn't that fitting? Trevor Rapallo in the number 90 machine sits in 8th. And Trey James in the number 1 machine. Good looking paint scheme right there. Now that matte black Beehive Cosmetics Mustang, Ford Mustang. And right behind him, Todd Slauson, Josh Stearman. Both mixing it up here. So that's your top 10 as they run. Lap 23 out of 170. And just a reminder, our first stage break will be number 42. As they continue to run, lap 42 should bring us that everyone does not have to make a green flag pit stop, but it will be interesting if we see anyone kind of short pit it. And what I mean by that is pit before the stage break, and then try to stay out during the stage break. And would you look at this, Caleb Eisenhower has now moved up into that second spot, seemingly at will. So Eisenhower in that zero machine, we saw him drop back, move forward, and now he's right on back there. He's got the leader of Dalton Tucker right in front of him. So good work right here for that number 0 machine. Starting third has moved up to second. He's looking like a really good long run car so far. And that's what it's all about, especially with that final stage being 86 laps. You do want to use these first 2 stages to figure out how your car is going to be on the long run. You do see that first stage being about a fuel run. And here we go. Pass for the lead by Eisenhower. He drops the low side in the trial, and he's going to make it work. Door to door heading into turn 1. You get a good look of it right there. Tucker going to give the lead up for the first time tonight. You see it at the top of your screen. He's led 26 laps, but lap 27 probably going to be the one that he loses out on the lead. Eisenhower holding on to that bottom groove. Tucker not wanting to give it up just yet. It's a Camaro and a Toyota at the line, and here we go. First lap led by Eisenhower here tonight. So Tucker giving up the lead for the first time. He's going to try and stay on that rear bumper of the 0 machine as we ride along with him. You can see right there, Eisenhower drifts up the track a little bit. Tucker takes advantage, stays on that bottom groove, and then drifts right back on up to the wall. That is the ideal line that you want to take. Tucker really making it work for him so far. And so far, we haven't really seen Tucker slow down outside of this pass that we just saw. Right behind them, a big gaggle of cars. Ackerman now on the low side of Thaxton. Each pass here is very important as each driver is going to get stage points. The top 10 at the end of this stage should be getting stage points, and then it goes in reverse order. So first place will get 10 points. Or I'm sorry, I have mistaken. The winner of the stage is going to get 1 stage point. So that's why you see the 0 car battling so hard for this lead at this moment in time. Should you win the stage, you get 1 playoff point. That becomes very important late down the stretch. A little bit about how that works. If you're not familiar, once we hit a certain threshold in the season, the top 12 drivers will be taken. And those top 12 are made in points. And if you get a win, you're in that top 12 as well. In theory, yes, you could have a top 12 of only winners. Should that happen? Not very likely. So your top 12 drivers based on wins and points will be your playoff field, so to speak, and how that field is seeded based on these playoff points. So every stage win so important for that playoff spot because it becomes a real challenge to move up from the back. A driver stuck in 12th at the start of the chase has a long way to go. Not impossible, but very, very hard to do as opposed to a driver who might be in that top 4 to begin the chase. So each stage point, so important. And you see Conover actually closing the gap on Tucker. Going to be interesting to see if Tucker kind of burned his tires a little bit as he was really on it early in the run. And then as it continued to wear, we saw Eisenhower be a very strong long-run car. So that's going to be interesting to note in this first stage. And again, these first 2 stages, very important to see how your car feels, how it handles, how you're doing as a driver. And so far, it's been green the entire way. Something else to note, very clean racing, very good racing, as we look back at Corey Wharton trying to pick on Todd Slauson right in front of him. He's got trouble from Brian Powell right behind him in that 7 machine. 22 gets a little bit loose, and you saw it right there. Back end want to kick out a little bit. Looks like the 7's got a little damage on that rear end as well. So continue down into turns 3 and 4. Continue to run green here at Charlotte. Coming up on our first stage break, only about 6 laps away here. So you see the yellow flag come out. They'll reset everything. And most of these drivers are going to come in for fuel. We haven't seen anyone try to short pit it just yet. And at this rate, I don't think it would happen. If you do, it becomes very, very difficult to kind of make it, as all of a sudden you've kind of worked on a different schedule. But drivers will do that. Kind of gamble a little bit on, will we see a caution, will we not? So do not be surprised if we see some pit strategy, especially so far as this race has kind of played out. We saw it start off very strong. Everyone hold together, and then everyone starts to single filing out, spread on out, and everyone's just kind of content running in this first stage and doing their thing. So check back on Jason O'Connor in the 72 machine. Colby Wells. Do not forget that name, Colby Wells, here tonight. We've seen a couple fans cheer for it in the chat, and I feel like it's due to be noted. 45 has moved up into that 12th position. So Colby Wells doing a very good job of picking his way through the field. Wouldn't be surprised if we see him at the end, but definitely in contention for that kind of hard charger award, that driver that goes from furthest back to furthest up. And Colby Wells doing a very good job of it here tonight. As you see, started off in 18th, he's moved up to 12th. All in this first stage, and as soon as we say that, he's going to get passed by Jason O'Connor in the 72, heading down in turns 1 and 2. Not willing to give it up just yet. But Colby Wells in the 45, keep an eye on him. Wells and O'Connor really battling. This is your closest battle on the racetrack right now, so we're going to stay on it. 45 and the 72, really mixing it on up here. Just drifts back ever so slightly. The 72 does. You see right there, all the cars out in front of them. Right along with Colby Wells here. A little ways up in front. Trey James in the number 1, looking to the low side of the 12 of Josh Thaxton. Good pass right there by James. He's now into that top 5 here. As you mentioned, that that matte black Beehive Cosmetics Mustang, Ford Mustang. Slowly moving his way on up, so a couple drivers definitely keep an eye on as we're in the final lap of stage number 1. Flatline graphics cars, all top 3. As you see, Eisenhower, Tucker, and Conover, 1, 2, 3 here at Charlotte. Caleb Eisenhower one more time around turns 3 and 4. He's going to come to the start-finish line. Yellow flag is going to wave. But that number 0 of Caleb Eisenhower going to be your stage 1 winner.
Caution, caution, caution.
There it is. The caution is out. So quick look at the top 10 of stage number 1. Eisenhower takes the stage win. Tucker in 2nd. Conover 3rd. Ackerman 4th. James 5th. Thaxton 6th. Wharton 7th. Flossin 8th. Kendrick 9th. And Brian Powell comes away 10th in stage number 1 here tonight. So caution flag waves. Field's going to get set on up, and now we're going to bring you some pit stops. Like we mentioned, the fuel window, 40 to 45 laps. So the stage break's coming right at the fuel window. Just going to prove for an interesting stage 3 should we have a green flag run like that. But for right now, I would expect all cars to go in, get 4 tires and 2 cans of Sunoco race fuel. Like we mentioned at the top of the broadcast, the Xfinity cars normally handle 18 gallons. They're going to get somewhere around 16-ish, 85% of 18. To fuel that naturally aspirating engine as the whole field coming down pit road. Eisenhower leads the field down pit road. We see 1 car staying out, trying to get that lap down car. 2 of them here, Joshua Abney and Joshua Schofield, both laps down. Going to be a very important race on and off of pit road here tonight. There you see the field all cycling on into their pit stops. Quick reminder that iRacing will not render the pit crews, so you won't actually see the Jackmans coming on over the wall. The race off of pit road sure to be a good one here as you look at the end. Big win right there for the 24 and the 0 and the 95. Very, very close coming off of pit road. Everybody taking 4 tires and fuel. Nobody opting for 2, and that seems to be the smart decision. Number 12 stays in the pits a lot longer than expected. So curious to see what happened to that machine right there. But everyone gone down to get service, and you see Colby Wells right there. Interesting strategy for him. Might be drifting towards the back, expecting some kind of caution. But the 24 of Dalton Tucker going to snag the lead on pit road. His pit stop, 14.4 seconds. Caleb Eisenhower in the 0, 14.5. The difference? Dalton spent 37 seconds on pit lane. Caleb Eisenhower, 37.8 seconds. So those 0.9 seconds all add up right there, and you see the 24 used that to his advantage. Jumps into that first spot to kick off stage number 2. So I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in and joining us here tonight. Hope you guys are enjoying after stage number 1. Still got 2 to go here for you, and definitely the most important, stage number 3. Be sure to stay tuned for that. Let us know who you're rooting for, who you think's going to pull this one off after stage 1. Do you think the 24 and the 0 are going to pull away with it, or do you think we'll see someone else kind of rise to the occasion in stage number 2? See Dalton Tucker right there in the 24 machine. Picking that lead back up again. Lights are going to be off on the pace car, meaning we will come to the green flag this next time by. So it will be interesting to see. As this race goes on, if the leader continues to select the inside lane on those restarts, or if we see anyone change things up. Field gets on, set to go. And you see a good shot of the whole field right here. 21 cars still running. Of those 21, 19 are on the lead lap. A couple of lap down cars of Joshua Schofield. You see him right there. And Joshua Abney, both 2 laps down. So they're looking to kind of make up a little bit of ground here. 17 of Cameron Thompson has pulled it behind the wall. His day might be done here. So he might have had some issue. We saw him earlier have a little bit of an issue, pulled onto that apron. I think the 17 might be done for the day. We'll have to go and check with him here shortly. But here we go. Those flatline graphic cars. Still 1, 2, 3. Tucker, Eisenhower, and Conover. Green flag. Bunch of tire spin for some guys further in the field. Everyone starts to settle it on out. We look A-OK. Heading down into turns 1 and 2. You saw the tire spin in the 69 of Ackerman. And you saw it from a couple guys back there as well. Trey James, the number 1 machine, had a very good restart. And you're seeing him try to jockey his way up to that front. Cars start to single file on out at the end of the first lap of stage number 2. Really good job, everyone. Brian Jones, I haven't called his name all day. He's leading Colby Wells right behind Brian Powell in that number 10 Viagra machine. But check up right there by the 7. Like we mentioned earlier, these cars will not stay wide open. You'll see it in the trucks and you'll see it in the cup cars. The ability to stay pretty wide open. Trucks, it's a little more difficult. You're going to have a little bit of lift in the throttle. But here especially, like we heard from a couple of the drivers in practice, set up very tight, requiring a good amount of lifting in the corners. And you're going to see it again here. On the new tires, you'll be able to lift a little bit less. But definitely as the run goes on, you're going to see things kind of change up a little bit. That's Joshua Abney in the 81. He's going to pull down to that apron there, stay out of the leader's way. He now goes 3 laps down in that number 81 machine. It's a tough day for the 81, but he's going to continue to make it work. And something really special about these longer races, 171 laps like we mentioned, you're going to be able to make those laps up. We get another couple cautions. You might get that lucky dog. You might be in a good spot after this one. The 36 Red Bull machine of Joshua Stearman kind of steers by the 00 of Ryan Kendrick. And he's looking to chase down Todd Slauson in the 22. Further on back, Trevor Apollo in the 90. He sneaks by Mark Stryker. He's going to complete that pass for 12th position. And there's that number 12 of Joshua Thaxton we mentioned. Having a longer pit stop. His was 27.5 seconds. So I don't know if he had some kind of issue that the crew needed to fix on up. He's really making it work up to that 11th spot and looking for more on Blade Timmons. Timmons holding on to that 10th position and that white line you see at the bottom of the corner. The number 12 machine not willing to give it up just yet. He's wanting more. Riding along with Thaxton here. As you see that rowdy Toyota Tundra in front of him of Timmons. Higher entry, but able to get down to that white line. And you'll see most of the drivers have a line similar to Timmons and Thaxton. As the run goes on, you might see drivers explore about a groove up somewhere toward that first seam. But for right now, everyone able to hold that bottom groove. So continuing to make it work. Riding along with Mark Stryker here, and you see him going to the outside of the number 90 machine of Trevor Apollo. He wants a little piece of the pie here. 77 going to try and pin it on down in that second groove. Looks like he might get a good run off here. So coming to the start-finish line, the 77 completing that pass. Good job for Mark Stryker and that 77 team. And you see right behind him, Colby was mixing it up with the 7 car. Little bit of contact right there between the 7 and the 45. Everyone sorts it on out, and everyone's still okay. 7, a little bit of lost momentum there in turns 1 and 2, and he's going to try to battle it back. He is, but that's going to take a second as you see Brian Powell in the 7 just keeps getting shuffled on back. Now getting picked up by Joshua Abney, that lap down car. He's now slid back to 17th position. Wells trying to make it work. He's in 14th, all over the rear bumper of Rapallo. Rapallo just got passed by Mark Stryker, and he's now fed to the Wolves. Wells to the inside down the back straightaway. Wells looking to hold that inside groove, and the 10 of Brian Jones also going to slide behind Wells. They're both going to sneak by the 90. We saw that maneuver earlier in the race, and you got to think those front guys definitely going to know that's the way to do it. You see one car pass, you hop right on his rear bumper, and you see it right here. Jason O'Connor in the 72 doing the same exact thing. And the number 90 of Rapallo hops in a line as quick as he can right there, not willing to bleed any more positions. He's going to try and get it on back here. It's a Dollar General Toyota Supra making its way around. But you see it right there, that power of that kind of lower groove. Very tight between the 10 and the 72 right there. Brian Jones and Jason O'Connor. Is O'Connor really trying to move up this pack? He's in 15th right now, and he's now going to be 14th after that pass. Good move by the 72 as he sneaks by the 10. Look, carried quite a bit of speed here in that New England Ford Mustang. Like we mentioned at the top of the broadcast, that O next to his name means he's driving for owner points, not necessarily for driver points. Those drivers that we talked about in the point standings, Josh Thaxton, Dalton Tucker, Trey James, drivers like that all driving for driver points, and they will be the driver in the playoffs. And you'll see them with an R or nothing next to their name as opposed to these drivers with an O next to their name. Flashing back to the front of the pack. This is the battle for second here. Caleb Eisenhower all over the rear bumper of Conover in the 95, but he's got trouble behind him. Ackerman, the 69, trying to make his presence felt. Ackerman has looked very strong here. Hasn't quite done a lot, but he's been very consistently in that kind of third, fourth, fifth positions and really able to hang on. So I'm curious to see if Ackerman's pushing it for all it's worth or if he still has a lot of room left to give in that 69 machine. It's right here on your screen. You see Dalton Tucker really pulling away, and then second through sixth. And here we go, Corey Wharton looking to that inside. Wharton not wanting to be patient. He wants by the 69. He heard me talk about the 69. He wants to prove that he can get to that low side and get by the 69. Looks like he's going to do it coming to the line. But the 69 of Ackerman holding on to that outside groove. Good job by the 69. But the one of Trey James pushes through with the 20. And that's also something to note. When you do that, you have the benefit of a little bit of draft. So that low line or the line with more cars, ever so slightly more powerful, and you saw it right there. Ackerman now drops back to sixth behind James and Wharton. As James not done yet, a good run off of turn 4. He's looking at the 20 machine. That body armor, rear bumper in his sights. You hear it right there, on the gas early and on the gas hard. So important to do, to be quick around here with the tires the way they are. It looks like Trey James doing a very good job of it. In front of Wharton is Eisenhower. We saw him kind of drop back. Josh Conover also proven to be a pretty good driver here tonight. Maybe a myth if we did not mention the 95, as you see him right there. Running that half groove up. We talked about it. Will drivers try to do it? Put those right tires on that seam. Sometimes the drivers say that seam, that little black streak you see in the track on your screen right now, it's a little bit slick and you don't want to touch it, but other times we'll see drivers run it as if it were keeping them on the tracks. So we'll see if Conover continues to do that throughout this one. Should be a good one. Quick check on your leader. Dalton Tucker just pulling away from this field. He's now opened the gap to 1.4 seconds to second place. And you'll get a good look at it right here as they head down the back straightaway, just how big that gap is. Trey James sneaks by Wharton in the 20, but Wharton thought about sending it inside. He thought better of it and kind of backed on out of it. Probably a good decision for the number 20 machine. Still very early to kind of press for that position just yet. But we might see him try that move later in the race. Riding along with Ryan Kendrick here. See that R next to his name? He is racing for points. Not in the top 5 in points currently, so a good finish here would definitely set him in a good spot as they head toward the second half of the season. So we continue to run green here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. That's the 29 of Chad Engel. He's going 2 laps down, but I'm not going to give it up to the 95 just yet. You see how hard it is to pass on that higher grooves. 29. Also on fresh tires, willing to note. He's on the second lap of these tires. You're going to get a good look at the difference in tires here. He's on 2-lap old tires. Everyone else 24, 25 laps on those tires. Conover and James really mixing it up off of turn 4 here. James wants to spot. Conover doesn't want to give it up just yet. Looks like he's going to concede it heading into turns 1. Not just yet. Oh, and the 95 does back out of it as soon as I see it. But he's going to try and pull that inside move coming to the corner. Off of turn 2, the 95 trying to get the quarter panel to 1. Not quite going to get there, but as soon as we see that, Ackerman to the low side of Wharton. Ackerman with a good pass, going to slide up the track, kill the number 20's momentum, hold on to that number 5 position, and right in front of him also mixing it up. So lap 69, lap 70 out of 170, and you see these 2 drivers locked in a battle, and the 2 drivers behind him also mixing it on up here for positions 3, 4, 5, and 6. We're going to let you guys crank it on up here. Let you guys really listen to the cars. Well, Good look at the difference in tires here as we follow along with the 29 and the 24. 29, Chad Engel. 1 lap down now as he's going to get his lap back organically from Dalton Tucker. And he's going to have a good shot at getting that lucky dog position. Put him back on the lead lap. Will be huge for the 29 team. Talked about at the top of the broadcast how easy it is to get caught up in being a lap down and try and push the car and just get frustrated. But the 29 team doing a good job of just making their stuff work. And should he get the lucky dog, he's going to get back on the pit cycle that everyone else is in. So very big pass right there for the 29, who's on about 20 lap pressure tires than the leaders in the rest of the field. Let's get you a quick look at your top 10 here. Brought to you by iRacing.com. Dalton Tucker holds on to that lead spot. He's in that 24 machine. But he's kind of getting run down by Caleb Eisenhower once again. Eisenhower is seemingly very good all the way at the end of these runs. It's so interesting to watch Eisenhower kind of drop back and then start to move forward once again in that 0 machine. So he's definitely going to be there at the end. Curious if he has short run speed. If we have some kind of short run, if we'll see him make a move up there later in this one. 3rd place, Bruce Ackerman. He's in that 69 Hardee's machine. He's making his way toward the front. We've called him a couple times. He's answered the bell. Looking very solid in that 69. Right behind him, Trey James in that number 1 machine. Seen him really mix it up with everyone. Him and Ackerman, both about equal speeds, it's looking like. Right behind him, Corey Wharton in the 20 and Josh Thaxton in the 12. We saw Thaxton kind of drop back a little bit, so good to see him move back up towards the front. Todd Slauson sits in 7th, and Josh Stearman in the 36. Called his name once or twice here tonight, so good to see him kind of move on up. And Joshua Conover, not sure what happened to the 95. Looks like he might have a little bit of damage to that right front quarter panel. He was in that lead group, those top 3 or 4 cars, and he's now moved back to 9th position. Going to be curious to see if this next stage break calls for a pit stop for him. And rounding out your top 10, Ryan Kendrick in that 00. Let's take you through the rest of the field here tonight as we approach our 2nd stage break of the night. Trevor Apollo in the 90 sits in 11th position. Jason O'Connor, he's in the 72. He sits in 12th. Brian Powell, he's in the 7. We saw him kind of mix it up with the leaders for a little bit. Now kind of drop back. He's in 13th. Colby Wells in the 45. We mentioned his name. Do not forget him just yet. He sits in 14th. Blade Timmons, he's had good speed and looks like he also might have a little bit of right front fender damage on that machine. Mark Stryker, he's in the 77 Mellow Yellow Chevy Camaro. Good looking car right there for Stryker. He sits in 15th. Brian Jones behind him, he's in that Viagra Chevrolet Camaro. He's in 16th. Keegan Blitzer is in the 28. He sits in 17th. 18th is going to be Jason O'Connor, but he's pulled it down on a pit road. So Chad Engel probably going to pick up that 18th position here. And Joshua Schofield still running. He's 2 laps down, looking to make his ground up. Get back on that lead lap for stage number 3. So that's your running order. As they run right now, 19 cars on the track currently. And Engel just passed O'Connor for that 18th spot. I would imagine Schofield in a lap or 2 passes him as well. And as soon as we say that, Schofield got a little bit in that outside retaining wall. Let's take another look at that one. I just saw Schofield coming off of turn 4. Ended up just getting it a little too squirrely. So let's take one more look at what happened to that 01 machine. See him drive it very aggressively. Just gets up into that wall off of turn 4. And that was like we mentioned at the top of the broadcast. Driver's saying that the setup was tight. We saw it right there. Coming to the end of stage number 2 here. And there it is, your stage 2 winner. Going to be Dalton Tucker in that number 24 machine. Good run by him, and you saw him almost getting run down by Eisenhower. Dalton Tucker holds on for this one, and he will be your stage 2 winner. Quick look at how stage 2 finished. Just mentioned it, but another good look at it. Trevor Paulo jumping into that top 10. Conover holds on to that top 9. Ackerman with a 3rd place stage finish. Definitely good job for a bunch of those guys, and it's set to go down pit road once again here. So 24 and the 0, been battling all night long. Good job by both those cars. And curious to see if we'll see any kind of challenge here in Stage 3. Stage 3, should it continue like these first 2 stages were, might provide us some green flag pit stops for the first time here tonight. So be curious to see how that goes as the field heads down pit road here at Charlotte. See, almost all the cars going to take that left-hand turn on the pit road. All of them should, right at that fuel window. And you see the 28 spin out heading on a pit road. That's Keegan Blitzer. Tough break for the 28 as he's going to be sent to the back of the pack for that one. So leaders pulling into their pit stalls. We'll see if Dalton Tucker really makes use of it. We'll see if anyone dares take 2 tires here, or if they're going to stick with 4 for the time being. I would imagine we see all the cars take 4 tires. 24 going to make it off of pit road first, but a big gaggle of cars for that 2nd, 3rd, and 4th spot. You see good race off of pit road right there. The 95 of Conover going to stay in his pit box. You can see him right here from our camera down at the end of pit lane. Going to get that damage fixed up, and that Toyota Supra race ready once again. But a good race off of pit road. Dalton Tucker out to the lead. You see right there, Josh Conover still in his pit stall. But look who it is, Bruce Ackerman. I think we've called him Bryce more times than he can count. Bruce Ackerman in that number 2 spot. 14.5 second for that pit crew. Good job by them. And once again, the difference on pit lane. All these drivers with pit stops 14 point something seconds. But 37 seconds in pit lane for Dalton Tucker. 38.2 for Ackerman. 38.6 for Eisenhower. Josh Thaxton, 37.3 seconds spent on pit lane. And he's moved up all the way to that 5th spot. So stage is set for stage number 3. The most important one here of the night. It's winner of stage 3, obviously the winner of the race. And it's going to be the longest stage of the night. Almost doubled. 86 laps to round this one out. Roll around at pace speed. Bruce Ackerman in that 2nd spot. It's going to be interesting. We've seen the 69 be a pretty solid car all around, but I think he's looked a little bit better on the short run than the long run. So we'll see if the 69 can move up into that 1st spot, maybe hold on to it. Something else to think about is that idea of clean air versus dirty air. So you hear a lot of guys talk about dirty air, and what that means is that car in that first spot has all that air that's not been broken up by other cars. And the aerodynamics of the car really favor that kind of thing. So you'll see that lead car able to slice through the air, whereas that second, third, fourth car has to deal with that turbulence, or that wake, if you will, that lead car makes. Doesn't glide over the car as smooth as that clean air, and that's what makes it harder to pass, and that's what drivers mean by that dirty air. "19 cars still on the lead lap. Joshua Schofield in 19th. He's 2 laps down. Everyone else on the lead lap. So Chad Engel in the 29 made his way back onto that lead lap. So good to see for him. And we're going to get set to go green again here for stage number 3 at Charlotte. Dalton Tucker on the inside. Bruce Ackerman on the outside. And in that second lane, Caleb Eisenhower, Trey Jones going to lead us to the green flag. We'll see if we get any tire spin from the drivers. Green flag, and the drivers are off. Everyone with a pretty good restart. The number 1 shoves up into that 69. And Trey James down to that low side already. Hangs the 20 out to dry on that high side. Ackerman also getting to that low groove. But Eisenhower already into that second spot. Drivers really mixing it up. It's stage 3. It's go time for a lot of these guys. Very long stage, but they want to gain as many positions as they can off the restart. That's the time to do it for some of these guys. Kendrick to that low side. He's going to sneak by Rapallo. Further on back, Mark Stryker defending his position. Don't forget the 95 of Josh Conover. He's going to make his way by the 23. Going to try and mix it up with the 77 here next. Good look right there of all the cars flying on by. A lot of the guys like to mix it up down the back straightaway. Front 3 of single file. They're trying to pull away, but right behind them, the 20 of Corey Wharton now slides in the line. The 01 and the 12 now single file as well. Wharton in the 20 really mixing it up here. He wants a piece of that top 5, and he's trying to fight his way up. Number 90 to the inside of the 36. 36 holds on. Rapallo holding on. Colby Wells right behind him. Tucker and Eisenhower starting to mix it on up a little bit. We saw Eisenhower really tack late in the runs. He's trying to do it right now, early in this one. 94 out of 170 complete here at Charlotte. And we're back here at Charlotte, and you see single file running order throughout most of the field at this point. So everyone's starting to kind of settle on in, getting ready for green flag pit stop. It's going to be in about 20 laps or so. So they're 20 laps through the run that they're currently on. Like we said, that fuel window, 40 to 45 laps. It's going to be 43. It's going to be pushing it for a lot of these drivers. So curious to see when they come and what your strategy is. As we start looking at it, about 65 laps to go. So you'll pit in about 20 laps with 45. So you can really split this third stage in two. But should it stay green the entire way, we might get a bit of fuel saving kind of scenario. If anyone pits a lap early or needs to pit a lap later. Dalton Tucker continuing to lead. Caleb Eisenhower trying to pick it on up. He's in that second spot. Bruce Ackerman has stayed in third position pretty much all night long. Bounced between third and fourth, and you see him with the 20 right here of Corey Wharton. You got to wonder if the 69 might be fuel saving a little bit. If you see him on that rear bumper of the car in front of him, the car has to use less fuel to go the current speed. Car in front is cutting through that air. Similar to driving down the freeway, if you get stuck behind a semi, you're saving fuel because less drag equals less power that's needed by the engine. That's what you're seeing right here. The 69 right behind the 20. The 12 trying to jump into the fray as well. Trey James, we saw him mix it up a little bit earlier. He's now dropped back a little bit. He's in sixth. Todd Slauson. It's been on and off all night, and now, right now, he's on. Moved it up to that 7th spot. So right there in turns 1 and 2, Trey James all the way to the back bumper of Josh Thaxton, who you're riding on board with right now. And you hear the lift of the throttle right there as the engine starts to settle on down. It turned on into the corner. All three of these cars all bunched on up. Seemingly content running single file though. We haven't seen anyone kind of jump on out to that bottom groove, and as soon as we say that, Bruce Flashing back to your leader. Apologies about that. Tucker still holding on to first. Eisenhower close behind him. Worthy to note that Eisenhower not racing for points here tonight, only racing for owner's points. Tucker and Ackerman, first and third, they are racing for points. Tucker currently scored second in points. If he gets a win here tonight, he'll jump over Thaxton into that first spot. Josh Thaxton, he currently rides fourth. He's your points leader with one win on the season. He's hoping to get a good finish here tonight as well. Has not got a stage point tonight. Or a playoff point. Those belong to Tucker and Eisenhower for the stage wins in stages 1 and 2. And we continue to rock and roll here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. See everyone running pretty much single file on. Now let's take a lap along with Caleb Eisenhower. See Eisenhower just holding that groove, not putting a lot of input into the wheel. Really good looking turn here, not overturning with that wheel, and that's why you're seeing these first two drivers really pull away from the guys behind them. It's the less input you can put on the wheel, fresher you're going to keep these tires, and you see Tucker and Eisenhower just pulling away from this 3rd, 4th, 5th, and 6th guys. And that could be very well why you continue to keep doing that kind of thing. So closing in on green flag pit stops, somewhere around 7 to 10 laps away, as everyone about 33 seconds into their runs. 34 laps now in most driver stints. 35 for Wharton and James. So 50 laps to go. Driver's probably going to try and stretch it about 9 or so laps more. So then you're good to go to the end on fuel. And we'll see if that's how it plays out. So far, a green race the entire way. It's been fantastic to watch. As you see right here, Colby Wells getting passed right there by Josh Stearman. Sheesh. Josh Stearman in the 36. Apologize for that, Mr. Stearman. He's sneaking by the 45 of Colby Wells down the back straightaway. Good job right there by them. And we'll take a peek back at the 69 and the 12. This is the closest battle on the track, but the 12 and the 69 really working together here. Gonna be interesting to see if they do indeed stay together throughout pit stops. That's going to be so important here. As when someone goes in, who stays with them? Josh Thaxton and Caleb Eisenhower of Fireball Racing. I'd imagine they go together, and when they go, or does that mean Dalton Tucker's going to go and then they follow? We'll have to wait and see. We're closing in on that pit window. 37 and 38 laps into this run. They should have a little bit more than those 40 to 45 that we mentioned for the fuel window, as those first couple laps were under the caution flag from the stage break. But once their stint starts getting close to about 43, 44 laps down, then we're going to start really thinking about pit road for a lot of these drivers. So stay tuned. Green flag pit stops coming up soon here on J Deadlift Broadcasting. Hope you guys have enjoyed this one. It's been a fantastic race up to this point. And these green flag pit stops are only going to prove a little bit more drama, as we're seeing these top two, Tucker and Eisenhower, really dominate most of the race. Ackerman, Thaxton, James, Wharton, all names that we've seen in that top 5 area but no one's been able to really challenge Tucker and Eisenhower just yet. We'll be curious to see if that continues to hold serve, or if we see a little bit of a mix-up. Maybe someone takes 2 tires. We'll have to wait and see as this one continues. I'd like to thank everyone for tuning in. You guys are awesome. Hope you guys have been enjoying this one as much as I have here at Charlotte Motor Speedway. And as soon as we say that, Eisenhower looking for the lead on Tucker. Eisenhower all the way to his back bumper. Nowhere to go just yet as the 24 holds that bottom groove. But Caleb Eisenhower, he looks high, he looks low. Really trying to make it work here. As now he's going to think about driving low off of turns 2. Peeking that front fender on out, letting the 24 know he's there. Here he goes off of turn 4. That zero machine looks to that low side. Not quite going to get there just yet. The flat line graphics, you see it. And here we go. The number 0 all the way to that rear quarter panel of 24. Can't quite do it just yet. Dives to the low side down the back straightaway. Right behind them, Bruce Ackerman all the way to that bottom apron area. 69, a little bit of trouble right there. We'll have to take another peek at what just happened. This is a quick little replay right here of what happened to the 69. Coming off of turn 2, he just gets up into the wall, sends him down to the apron right there. Does a good job of keeping the car on track and making up the most with it. Because now we look back at your leader, Eisenhower and Tucker. It's almost like a replay of last time down the back straightaway. Eisenhower door-to-door with the 24. The 24 with a good run through the middle of the corner. But Eisenhower on that low side, going to pull off the pass off of turn 4. He takes the lead here at Charlotte. 43, 44 laps in your stint, and we're seeing drivers start to hit pit road. Todd Slauson, the 22, he's hit pit road. Ryan Kendrick, he's hit pit road. Who's going to be the next driver we see come down pit lane? The 0 and the 24 really mixing it up right there. Not a lot of fuel to be saved between the two of them, so who's going to pit first? Will we see any kind of short pit strategy from these front guys? And here we go. First green flag pit stops for the top 5. It's the 01 of James. We see the 69 of Ackerman, the 20 of Wharton, all down pit road here on lap 130. So you start to read that. Still 50 laps to go. Or I'm sorry, 40 laps to go. So they're about within their fuel window. Fuel window being 43. And here we go. The 0 slides it down on the pit lane. Eisenhower going to get it slowed on down behind him. Thaxton also on pit road. Mark Stryker scored 4th. He's down pit road. The 7 machine stays out. Shearman stays out. Tucker staying out. Most everyone else on pit lane in the top 5. Eisenhower on pit lane. Thornton, Stryker, Apollo, Wells, Conover, all down pit lane right now. Tucker's going to stay out 1 extra lap. So we're going to have a little bit of strategy right here as Tucker kind of hung out to dry. No one pitted with him. And we'll see the 24 gets it throttled on down. He's been very good on pit road all night long. We'll see if he can do it under green flag conditions. So as pit stops start to cycle on through, Josh Stearman currently scored your race leader. He's in the 36. He's yet to pit. Stearman and Chad Engel in the 29 scored 1, 2. They've yet to come down pit road. I would expect that we see the 36 either this lap or next. Looks like the 36 will pull it on in this lap in that Red Bull Toyota Supra. Locks up the brakes down on a pit road. He's going to make it work. Chad Engel in the 29. You saw him get his lap back earlier. He's also going to come down pit road. And Caleb Eisenhower probably going to shake out to be your race leader after we cycle through all this. So we talked about pitting and when to do it Right now, it looks like Eisenhower made the right move, pitted when he did. He's going to shake out to be your race leader as they pass the two guys on pit road. Eisenhower takes over the lead once again. Slauson right behind him in second. He's got 7 laps on those tires, pitting the first of this group. Trey James leads a ferocious pack right behind them as you see James, Tucker, Kendrick all mixing it up in this pack. Tucker to the low side of James. He wants to start picking his way back toward that front. Does not want Eisenhower to pull away. And you see them side by side coming through the tri-oval. Tucker really making it work on that bottom, but props to Trey James for making that high line work for so long. Able to hold off the 24 for what seemed about a full lap on that outside groove, and you're able to do that with the cleaner tires. And you might be able to make that work with a little bit worn tires. We haven't seen it too much here tonight, but Tucker definitely going to have to battle on back here late in this one. Lawson still holding on, but you see right there, this hard charging second group right behind him. Up in front, Eisenhower with no one in front of him. He's gotten by those 2 lapped cars. That's Engel in the 29, and right behind him, Joshua Schofield in that 01 machine. So there's your leader. There's second place. You see him come through that front straightaway. Still a long ways to go here. About 35 laps to go. Still almost an entire fuel run. So a lot can shake out before the end of this one. Dalton Tucker 1 lap slower to get to his pit stall. Will it cost him the race? We'll have to wait and see. The 20 all over the 1 machine. It's Corey Wharton on Trey James. And the 22 getting in the way. Almost a little bit of contact between the 1 and the 22. 22 tries to shuffle on back in. The 20 of Wharton down to that low side. And the 12 also going to enter the mix here. Josh Thaxton, do not count him out. Your points leader via that 1 win. Number 12 machine, no stranger to the front of the pack. He's trying to do his best here tonight. Dives that low side of the 22. A little bit of damage on the front end of Todd Slauson and the 22 machine. Maybe slowing that Toyota Supra down a little bit. Going to be tough to come back from that. Looking back at your leader, Caleb Eisenhower. Flashback, Dalton Tucker. He's in second. 2.5 seconds back. 30 laps to go here at Charlotte. So he's got a ways to go. And this is where it gets tough. If you're in the 24's ear, you definitely want to tell him, do not burn those tires up just yet. He's going to try and deal with lap traffic here. Joshua Schofield in the 01. Jumps that high side and lets him on by. In the 24, you can see the interval at the top of your screen down to 2.4. So slowly gaining. Will he have enough to make it to the end? Lap counter at the top left corner of your screen has changed. We're officially in that kind of final groove where we switch from however many laps of to how many laps to go. So starting to count down. You know the drivers are looking at it that way as well, as we've gone so far into this one, and now they're starting to look at it. It's only a little ways to go. Eisenhower on that with that Fireball Racing on that deck lid. Looking back on the 24. He's still got to get by 29 of Engel. It should be no problem. Eisenhower wants it to be a problem, though. Looking back in the field a little bit. Trey James mixing up with Wharton, and Josh Thaxton sticking his nose in there as well. Schofield dives to the bottom and get out of the way. And Thaxton to the low side of 20 of Wharton. Wharton gives the position, hops right back in line. Tries to get on the rear bumper of that Ford Mustang in that number 12 paint scheme. And Wharton looking at that low side in turns 1 and 2. Big dive in there. He's going to hold on to that bottom groove. Able to make it work late in this one. Firing on back, Colby Wells in the 45. We talked about him on and off here tonight as well. He dives the low side of the 00. He's going to pick up that 8th spot. A big move for Colby Wells in the 45. He's going to try and track down Slauson. And then in front of Slauson, Ackerman. So you saw it right there. Bruce Ackerman sneak by Slauson, and I jumped the gun a little bit. There's the 28 of Keegan Blitzer. We saw him spin on pit road this last yellow. He's now 1 lap down in the 28 machine. So really battling with the 22 here. And right in front of him, Bruce Ackerman. A little bit of damage to the right side of that machine. But Ackerman definitely making it work here for him tonight. You see in Ackerman's rear view, Todd Slauson getting passed by the 28 of Blitzer. Blitzer trying to get back in the toe of this 69 machine. Flashing back to your front. Caleb Eisenhower is the lead. Is now 1.4 seconds. Last time we checked, it was 2.4. Dalton Tucker reeling him in, and do not count out Joseph Thaxton. He's now made his way up to 3rd position. Thaxton really making it work. All of these cars on pretty much even tires. The only one noteworthy of a difference is Slauson in the 22, and he's got a little bit of damage. Unfortunate time for him. The 00 heading down pit road. That's Ryan Kendrick right there. Started 6th. He's moved back to 14th. Heading down pit lane. He's going to get service on the 00 machine. An off-cycle pit stop for the 00. That's going to send him back toward the bottom of our running order here tonight. He is going to go a lap down. The final car on the lead lap, Josh Conover. Saw him run very, very well for so much of it, and unfortunately a little bit of damage to the 95 has put him back there in 13th position. Only 13 cars on the lead lap as we speak. 22 to go here at Charlotte.
Caution.
And caution is out.
Whenever you can, but you're doing a really good job. Tell me about your race car when you can.
Mark Stryker with his hood off. It's our first caution of the night, and this might shake things up here. Going to take another look at it right here. It looked like the 22 had a little bit of trouble, and Stryker just could not get out of the way. We're going to have to look at what happened to the 22. Looking at Todd Slauson here. He dives in 3 and 4th. Colby Wells right behind him. We've got a little bit of help from the 45 there. Then just tries to save it in the 77. Nowhere to go for Stryker. tough break for the 77 right there. So let's ride on board with Mark Stryker. And that is an ouch, a big hit right there for the 77, who is running pretty well. Just an unfortunate circumstance right there. And here we go. Leaders heading down pit road. Most everyone going to take time to get 4 fresh Goodyear Eagles on the car. You see those lapped cars staying out. As they cross the start-finish line, and here we go, taking a look down at the end of pit road. Who's going to go in? Who's going to come off? Will anybody take 2 tires? If any time to take 2, now is the time. So we'll see if anyone tries it right now. I don't think we'll see anyone go for it. You see the jack stands up on the left side of the 24 as well. Big run off by the 0 right there. The 24, the 12, and the 69, your top 4 off of pit road. Big rush right there by the 90. We'll see if he gets a speeding penalty. Trevor Apollo looked like he was quick coming off of pit road, but we'll have to wait and see on that one. But your winner off of pit road going to be Caleb Eisenhower. First time he's been quickest off of pit road tonight, and a great stop for the number 0 team. A 14 flat. Dalton Tucker with a disappointing pit stop, 14.7 seconds. So the 24 Exalta team, when it comes crunch time, little mistake by the pit crew. All the drivers even on pit lane in the top 3. So really a good job by the pit crew of the 0 team to keep him out front. So sets up an interesting narrative. Everyone going to be good on fuel at this point. Everyone now on the same set of tires. Chad Engel going to be your lucky dog. He's heading down pit road as we speak. He'll also be on fresh Goodyear Eagles. So it sets up a bit of a shootout here. We're going to get the green with 16 to go, I believe. And that's kind of go time. You'll be able to run pretty much all out. Not have to worry about the tires in those 16 laps. So we'll take a look at your top 10 right before we get set to go here. Eisenhower in first, Tucker second, Thaxton third, Ackerman fourth, Wharton fifth. Rapallo up in that 6th spot. Good job by the 90 team right there. Brian Jones in 7th, Josh Stearman in 8th, Josh Conover in 9th, and Mark Stryker in 10th. It'll be tough for the 77 team to make use of that car after this race. But they're going to do their best here. So if you're still with us, do you think 24 has what it takes to beat the 0, or do you think the 0's got the win in his bag? Love to hear what you guys think. If you're joining us live on the broadcast on YouTube right now, it's a 00 going to take his wave around the pace car. Ryan Kendrick going to get waved around the pace car as we get the 1 to go signal here at Charlotte. We've seen the 0 and the 24 be kind of 1-2 in terms of speed all race long. Going to be interesting if anyone else is able to keep up with those two. Josh Thaxton, definitely someone to keep an eye on in that number 12 machine. Bruce Ackerman in the 69 as well. Both those guys pretty fast, especially on that short run, and that's what we're going to have here tonight. A little bit of a short and quick sprint to the finish. Going to take the green with 16 to go, and will that have been our only caution tonight, or will we have more? Talk week in and week out about how the idea of cautions breeding cautions. We'll see if that holds true here tonight. So pace car going to take that hard left-hand turn onto pit road as you look from high above Charlotte Motor Speedway here. Big sellout crowd here tonight. All able to virtually social distance, of course. Number 0 going to stack the field on up. Green flag in the air, and we are green once again here at Charlotte. Good jump by the number 12 of Josh Thaxton. He's on that low line right there. Very good job by him getting that low side. And you see the number 90 of Trevor Apollo in that yellow Dollar General car. Try to jump to that low side. Everyone's starting to kind of feel it on out. But the 24 not wanting to give any room to the 12. They're going to be side by side heading back into 3 and 4. Still mixing it on up here. The 12 and the 24. 12 does end up clearing him. Good job by Thaxton. We'll see if that continues to hold. As Tucker looked like very much the number 1 or the number 2 car, but they're closing in on that 0. Josh Thaxton been very consistent all race long, and he's there for it at the end. 15 laps to go at Charlotte, and he's putting that pedal to the floor. Number 12 holding to that yellow line. He's got Eisenhower in front, Tucker behind. 12 having the 24 push him all over the track, and you get a good look at it right there. 24's front bumper locked to that rear bumper of the 12. He pushes them into turns 1 and 2, gets locked back on up. It's almost like you're drafting at Daytona here. Looking at it from the 24's hood. He wants to use the 12 as much as he can to get up to that leader. Doing a damn good job of it so far. Caleb Eisenhower still holding on to that lead, but Thaxton and Tucker not giving an inch. A little bit of gap back to Wharton and Ackerman in 4th and 5th. Trevor Apollo in that 6th spot still trying to make his presence felt. And here's a good story for you. Joshua Conover making his way back up through the field. A little bit of damage to that 95, but fortunate of the very long race length here tonight. He's now worked his way back into that top 7. Trying to hold off Brian Jones with 12 laps to go in that number 10 Viagra Chevy Camaro. He's doing a good job of it right there. You see them all the way down. Left tires on that blue and white apron line. We flash you back to your leader. The 12, a little bit of damage to the back end. We're going to have to take a peek at what just happened. So watch it here. Josh Thaxton, let's take another look at it. Coming off of turn 2, gets up into the wall. Little bit of damage to the front end of the 24 as well. Both of those drivers' dreams at the win might be out the door with that one. We're now back live, and you see the 12 getting passed by the 20 of Wharton. The 24 with a damaged front end. Will he be able to catch the 0, or has that knocked him out of the contention for the win here tonight? You look at the interval at the top of your screen, half a second back. Will that gap open? Will it stay the same? Right now, starting to slowly open as Caleb Eisenhower trying to pull away for this win. Eisenhower doing a good job, and now the only challenge for the win looks like it falls in the hands of Corey Wharton in 3rd spot in that number 20 machine. We'll see if he has the speed to make up for it here. It's number 20 continuing to rock and roll. With the 24 of Dalton Tucker really holding on with that little bit of damage on that front end. Good job by him running a very good line. Trying to make the most of what car he has left. And here we go. Caution again. Here tonight. Chad Engel in the 29 is around. And we're going to have to find out why. Let's take another look at that one. Oh, and the 0 car turns into the 7 of Brian Powell. That's a tough look right there. We're going to have to look at it from high up above Charlotte Motor Speedway. You're going to get a good look at it right here. The 00 of Ryan Kendrick tries to send it 3 wide, and the 7 gets into the 29. We're back under caution. Taking one more look at it here from the nose of the 00 car, so you can see what the 00 thought he saw. Good run off of turn 2 here for Kendrick, and the 7 just checks up a little bit. We didn't see that on the initial replay, but yeah, check up by the 7. And 00 just gets into that rear bumper. Tough break right there. So a flashback live for the race off of pit road. Looks like all the leaders going down pit road, getting 4 fresh Goodyear Eagles on their cars. 24, going to take 2 tires. He's out to lead. First time we've seen that tonight. Couple of 2-tire stops here indeed. And we're now going to have a shakeup in that front order. And that might have been what the 24 is banking on, that someone else would take 2 tires. You see the number 10, who also took 2. The number 1 of Trey James as well. Big shakeup here late in this one. So that late race caution kind of setting us into a natural green-white checker situation. And now we're going to have quite the mix-up, as not only did we have guys taking 2 tires, but the 2 guys on your screen you're looking at right now, Bruce Ackerman and Trevor Apollo, staying out under this yellow. So we've got cars with no new tires, we've got cars with 2 new tires, and then we have your former leader, the first car on 4 tires, back in 6th spot. So last caution, if you thought the race was sealed between the 24 and the 0, were you wrong. Because this thing has just got a whole lot more interesting. Tough break last time for the 7, just getting turned like that by the 00. Not quite sure whose fault you would consider that, but the number 7 on pit road. He's going to be 8 laps down now, presumably a couple more. Ryan Kendrick makes it out of that alive. Stays on the lead lap for now. But let's flash you back to your top 5 now. Ackerman, Rapallo, Tucker, Jones, James. You know whose name you don't see in that top 5? Caleb Eisenhower, all the way back in 6th. But don't forget about Colby Wells as well. He's in 7th. Corey Wharton, the number 20, is in 8th. So a lot of things could really shake themselves loose here. So we've not seen the end of the drama just yet. Under our 4th caution of the night, you see that at the upper right corner of your screen as well. 6 laps to go. Now going to be 5 as the leader crosses that start-finish line. 1 to go, so we'll take the green with 4 to go. And this is the first time that we've seen the leader take that outside groove. Talked about it all night. Is somebody going to do it? Right now, the 69 has chosen the outside groove. He'll be starting from the outside and lead the field to the green flag. Very, very interesting selection by Bruce Ackerman, and we'll see if it pays off. Trevor Apollo on the inside. All the cars with a little bit of damage until you get back to Trey James and Caleb Eisenhower. This could prove for a very interesting finish. A lot of traffic to get through for a couple of these drivers. Going to be a very interesting finish here. Here we go. Green flag going to be in the air. 4 laps to go. I'll see if the field behaves themselves or if we see another yellow before this one's over. Pace car takes that hard left down the pit road. Field really stacks on up here.
Green flag.
Number 20 tries to jump, or the number 90 tries to jump it. A little bit of contact right there. Car spinning at the start-finish line. Looks like we're going to stay green here as well. Trey James got the worst of it. A quick look at what just happened. Before we send you on back live, you see the one car just spins the tires, gets into a bit of trouble. 22 gets involved, the 29 involved. But we stay green. Here's the field comes to 3 to go. Trevor Apollo holding on to that lead, but he's got Dalton Tucker all over his rear bumper in the 24. Tucker, we thought he was out when he got that damage on the back straightaway. But he says, not just yet, 3 laps to go. I'm going to try and make a move here in this one. Showing his face on the outside. Holds on to that rear bumper of the 90. Pushing the number 90 up the track. Can't quite find his way around the 90 just yet. And looming in the shadows, Caleb Eisenhower. He's in 4th. But he could move on up. Colby Wells with a huge run on the inside here of the 45. Nowhere to go except in the back bumper of the 69. As they race down into turns 2 and down the back straightaway. Ackerman holding on now. Turn! Colby Wells in trouble. Big wreck behind the leaders right here. Colby Wells was turned by the number 20. Big hit on the number 45 after the fact. Big caution. And here we go once again. Very aggressive driving. We saw a huge run right there for Colby Wells in the 45. Number 20 goes up the track, and Wells just tries to block a little bit, and then looks like he got the poor end of the bump on the wrong side of a bumper. 00 just slams on in right there. And we'll get another look at it right here. Colby Wells with a monstrous run through the tri-oval. And he just got stuck with nowhere to go, and then everything just kind of backed up like a freeway would. And you see what happens. Look at it from the nose of the 00, and yep, you see it right there. Just a little bit of checkup, something gets squirrely. Now we're back under yellow. Here at Charlotte. So that is going to do it for your race. I believe an anticlimactic end to this one, as Trevor Rapallo going to be your winner after a caution comes out and ends the race. What a great win for the number 90 team. 3 laps led, and he stayed out at the most important time. Gets a lucky break with the yellow flag. Trevor Rapallo, your winner here at the NORA B Series Charlotte 170. And that Dollar General Toyota Supra is going to look pretty good in victory lane here tonight. Number 12 giving him a pretty good bump on that rear bumper. Great to see Josh Thaxton show his respect to the number 90. And a great win right here for the number 90. No green, white checkered is indeed what we are being told. So your race going to be official here. That is going to do it. Let's take a look at your results really quick. Trevor Rapallo in first. Dalton Tucker in second. Caleb Eisenhower in third. Bruce Ackerman in fourth. And Brian Jones in fifth. So continue on down your list. Josh Conover battles his way back up to sixth. Josh Thaxton in 7th. Josh Stearman finishes 8th. Corey Wharton in 9th. And Colby Wells, after that incident, finishes 10th. So we're going to bring in first of your top 3. Before we go through the rest of the order, we're going to bring in your winner, Trevor Apollo. And Trevor, turned out you got the good end of staying out there. What went through your head when you chose to stay out and you're one of 2 cars staying out?
Jeez, I thought that was the right move. I couldn't believe as many people went in. The tires were important tonight, obviously, but with only 4 to go when we went back green, I just thought it was a no-brainer.
Absolutely. So you kind of mentioned tires being so important tonight. How did the car drive for you throughout this one?
Sorry about that. The guys in the chat were talking. I had to get out of there, so I didn't hear that last question. Sorry.
I was asking how the car drove for you tonight because you mentioned tires being so important. So I'm curious how it felt on new versus old.
Well, I'm in shock. I mean, I was slow in practice. The first run was miserable. I think I roasted my right front. It was like down to 52% or something. I said I need to adjust big time. So the next run, I really took it easy and just let a lot of guys by me, which hurt my heart. But towards the end of the run, started getting those spots back. When I got back into the top 10, did the same thing again on that last run. Conserved as much tire as I could. And I think if that run would have went long at the end, I probably would have been top 10, top 8. But yeah, when I saw that caution came out, also Bruce is my teammate, Bruce Ackerman. So I thought, hey, you know what? He'll start in first. I'll start in second. And maybe we have a chance at this. So luckily the green-white checkered didn't happen. I thought it was coming, and I thought I was in trouble at that point. But luckily it didn't. So yeah, I'll take it.
Yep, absolutely. Well, it was a great run for you here tonight. Anyone you want to give a quick shout out to on the stream before we send you on to victory lane?
Yeah, thanks to my teammate Bruce Ackerman, Full Throttle Motorsports, Alex, and Blade. Blade had a rough go of it early tonight. I wish he could have been here to see this as our first win as a team. We're a new team. So, thanks to all of them. Thanks to Dollar General. And, thank you for broadcasting.
Absolutely. Well, a great finish for you here tonight, and go enjoy victory lane and don't celebrate too hard, all right?
Woo! Thank you.
Trevor Apollo, the number 90, coming through in the clutch. Like you said, no green-white checker paid off for the number 90. So now let's bring in the 24 of Dalton Tucker. Dalton, you got a copy?
Yeah, I got you, man.
Alrighty, so we saw you really chasing down Caleb there prior to a couple of the cautions. Did you think you had him should the race have finished under green?
I won't say I had him because I don't know if he was saving or what happened, but it went from about 4 seconds to about a second, and I knew I'd probably get to him, but passing's a whole different story here.
Absolutely. So tell us a little bit about that, because we saw instances of passing being very, very difficult, so I'm curious how it was from your perspective.
Honestly, I don't think I passed anybody the whole race. I had clean air mainly the whole time, and when Caleb would get to me on longer runs, I'd just let him go, and I mean, there's really no holding him off. After 25, 30 laps, he was just fast.
Yeah, absolutely. So we saw the incident that left a little bit of damage on your front end. Did you think that was it? That once you got that damage, you're kind of just destined to be kind of somewhere in that 4th, 5th, or?
Yeah, that's the only reason I took 2 tires, because I didn't want to get farther back with 4 tires and damage and not be able to run up there. So I tried 2 tires, and if it would have gone green, I think I would have had it, but it was just a shot. I think it's 32 seconds, 33 seconds, something like that. So I knew it was definitely going to slow me down. So.
Yeah, no doubt, no doubt. Well, 2nd place finish, a very good one for you. We saw you lead the most laps here tonight, which is also good, and a stage win in your pocket. So all good things heading into next week. Mid-Ohio, you got anything for any predictions for that?
Plenty of off-track incidents for me. I know the track, I'm just not very good at it.
Absolutely. Well, second place, nothing to shake your head at. Anyone you want to give a quick shout out to before we send you on your way?
Got to give a shout out to Jake for hooking me up with this paint. He worked on it a little bit last week, and I think it came out really good. And appreciate you doing the broadcast. I think this is your first one this year, and can't wait to go watch.
Well, I think you'll enjoy it, and I think you'll enjoy that second place finish. So good talking to you, and we'll see you again soon.
All right, thanks, man.
Alrighty, that was Dalton Tucker, your second place finisher tonight. And your final interview tonight going to be Caleb. Caleb, you got a copy?
Yeah, man, I got you.
Alrighty, so take us through that final caution. Final caution comes out. You come in, take 4 tires, and get kind of shuffled on back. Did you think 4 tires was the call there, or were you expecting guys to take 2?
I don't know. I was pretty much felt I was screwed either way there. Kind of a Chase Elliott moment. I felt like they were going to do whatever I didn't do. I didn't try 2 tires at all. Thaxton told me that he tried it on 8-lap old tires in practice, and he still ran a good lap, so that kind of worried me. And I kind of knew once those 2 stayed out that it was going to be hard for me to get back up there. But it was a fun race. It was a fun race in Dalton there, and just hate it ended by guys in the back wrecking, and then just one of the 2 best cars didn't win. That's the most frustrating part, but just glad I had a good run.
Absolutely. And we talked to Dalton a little bit about just you guys, and we saw you, especially late in runs, seemingly just kind of track on up to him and then sneak on by him. Talk to us a little bit about the dirty air a little bit. We saw it play a factor for a lot of other guys, but it seemed to really not affect you at all.
Yeah, that first run, I just kind of I noticed everybody was driving really hard, and I wasn't saving, but I was just kind of keeping it low on entry and low on exit and just saving that right front. And then after about 15 laps, man, I was just tracking everybody back down. I was like, holy cow. And then so I tracked him down, and then I got in front of him, and then I kind of was just running different lines to test stuff out and not really let him see what I was doing. And then that second run, I was catching him, and I wouldn't say sandbag, but I kind of wasn't driving as hard as I was the first run, kind of to make him think he was saving better than he did. And then the last run, I kind of stayed on him a little more than I normally did and didn't let him save as much. And it was just managing that right front and waiting on the throttle and keeping it low on exit. I noticed he was tracking out really far off the corners, and that I just knew that it was going to kill him in the long run. But man, he flew on a short run. That's what worried me after that caution. When we had that caution with 30 to go or whatever, I was really worried because I hadn't really gone balls to the wall all race. I didn't really practice it in the practice, so I was worried. And when I was out front there, if Daxon wasn't there to hold him off, I may have been in trouble because I was all over the place, couldn't keep it down. I didn't really know what to do there. And then we had the caution, and I think everybody saw what happened there.
Yep. So hypothetically, we don't have that caution. Does the 24 track you down, or were you saving your stuff?
Oh, he was going to track me down, but I mean, once he got to about a second, I was going to kind of turn it on. I knew he wasn't going to pass me there if it stayed green. The only thing that I was worried about was him get ahead of me under pit stops under caution, and he almost did. That was what worried me the most, was me losing the lead to him on a pit stop under caution. Because if I got behind him on a late restart, if we were on equal tires, I wasn't going to pass him. He was just too good on the short run for me to be able to do anything with him. So that was my biggest concern. But no, if we didn't have a caution there, I don't see how I lose that race unless I just plow the wall down.
Absolutely. Well, number 3, not too bad, and a stage win in your pocket there. Anyone you want to give a quick shout out to before we send you on your way?
Yeah, I want to thank Josh Conover for letting me have the ride tonight, filling in for one of his satellite teams. It was a lot of fun. want to do it more than anything to help prepare for another league I'm in that's running Xfinity cars at Charlotte next Monday. So I learned a lot tonight. Thank you for the broadcast. I'm kind of excited to watch it. It felt like it was an exciting race, and I'm sure it was an exciting broadcast. And just thank, again, Josh and all the guys put on the league. It's a great league.
All righty. Well, great watching your race, and we'll talk to you again soon.
Appreciate it, man.
All righty. That was Caleb Eisenhower. You heard the frustration in his voice. One of two of the fastest cars, and no disputing that, really. The 0 and the 24 look like the cars to beat all race long, and you see it on your screen right now. 24 with a damaged front end, and the number 0 in that kind of third spot. So tough break for those guys here tonight. So let's run you through the final results here from the Charlotte 170. Trevor Apollo comes away your winner in that Toyota Supra Dollar General machine. Dalton Tucker finishes second. Caleb Eisenhower comes away third. Bruce Ackerman, a good run for him. He finishes fourth. Brian Jones comes away fifth. Josh Conover comes away top 10, number 6. Josh Thaxton battled his way up and down all race long, ends up finishing 7th. Josh Stearman finishes 8th. Corey Wharton kind of dropped back late in that late race incident. He finishes 9th. Colby Wells as well involved in that. He finishes 10th. Continuing on down your list, Ryan Kendrick finishes 11th. Chad Engel, good job by him. We saw him a couple laps down early in the race. We talk about that long race being friendly to guys that go a lap down, and they're able to kind of trek their way back on through the pack, and you saw it here tonight as Engel finishes 12th. Trey James, involved in an incident, finishes 13th. You saw him spin the tires on that restart and have to drop to the back. Keegan Bitzer finishes 14th. Apologies, Keegan. I apparently said your name all race long incorrectly. We fixed it now. Mark Stryker comes away 15th. Todd Slauson in 16th. Joshua Schofield will notch a 17th place finish. Brian Powell finishes 18th. Blade Timmons, we saw him race very well all night long, but unfortunately he comes away 19th. Jason O'Connor finishes 20th, 91 laps down. Joshua Abney finishing 21st. And Cameron Thompson finishes 22nd. So that's going to do it for us here tonight from Charlotte. It was a good one. Eisenhower, Tucker, and then Rapallo, your stage winners, and Rapallo coming away with the race victory. Very good race, a lot of green flag running, and that was the most exciting part, is just seeing everyone really sort it on out, really put their stuff on show for us all here tonight. So if you like this broadcast, you want to see some more of it, we'll be back again next week as the NORA B Series heads to Mid-Ohio for some road course action. You won't see any caution flags except for the stage breaks. So we'll have some good right and left turns for you next week. Be sure to tune in. Same time, same place on the J Deadlift Broadcast Network that you're on right now. 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time kickoff. And we'll have some fun once again. It's been a blast presenting this Charlotte 170 to you here tonight. I hope you guys had just as much of a good time watching. If you enjoyed, make sure to tune in again next week. And we'll see you again next week at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Thanks for tuning in and stay safe, everybody. We'll talk to you again soon.